Joining us here today. Very excited to be bringing you this topic. I've received many requests for this topic about understanding business and tax rules, specifically for independent contractors such as yourselves, being entrepreneurs, running your own businesses. Some of you have your own clinics, be it in your home or a separate entity. Some of you are just, whether or not you're a practitioner or a naturopath or iridologist or acupuncturist or whatever it is, maybe you're just doing this as a side business and you're just doing, in-home presentations and different things like that. So a lot of these things will apply to you, and I've been asked many times, like, well, what can I write off and what can I do this? And I'm not really sure, and I don't profess to know all the answers. I have attended many a tax seminar in specific relation to the direct sales industry and being an independent contractor. A lot of information actually can be found on the CRA website, so the Canadian Revenue Agency website. So I strongly encourage you, if you do have further questions, to check that out, because there is a lot of information. I did get a lot of information from there, as well as a direct sales tax attorney that I work with as well. So let's jump right in here first. And obviously, one of the biggest things is home office expenses. And get to the next slide here. Hopefully, it will advance itself. It's just not wanting to right now. This is always so much fun. All right, there we go. All right, home office expenses. So as an independent contractor in Canada, you can deduct expenses, related to your home office, such as your utilities, your mortgage interest, repairs, property taxes, insurance. The deductible portion of the above expenses is equal to the percentage that your home office faces the total size of your home. So let's say you have your office inside your home and it's a certain section, maybe it's 400 or 500 square feet, and the actual, let's say it's 500 square feet and your whole house is 2,000 square feet. So that's 25%. So, for example here, if your home office takes up, let's say 25% of your total floor space, you can deduct 25% of your home maintenance costs, such as heating, electricity, and cleaning materials. So the amount you can deduct for business use of home expenses cannot be more than your net income from the business before you deduct these expenses. So what they're really saying is, in other words, you cannot use these expenses to increase or create a business loss. So just some basic thoughts there about your home office expenses. Next is telephone, internet expenses. Generally, and why it does not want to show on your screen. There we go. Telephone, internet expenses. So generally, a single phone or internet connection is considered personal, so everyone has one. Its separate or additional lines connections may be deductible to the extent used for business. Now, obviously, you need to have documentation to support the claim. So keep the initial contract and your monthly bills. Bank statements may not be sufficient for auditors, so wherever you can, keep the initial bill of sale for most of these things. And if you have a transactions for phones, for like whether it's through Rogers or Bell or whatever, keep those contracts so you have those at your fingertips when the time comes. So the next part is another part of home office expenses that I did not realize this, and this was really cool to find out, is you can deduct the cost of labor and materials for any minor repairs or maintenance done to property you use to earn income. However, you cannot deduct the value of your own labor or the cost you incur for repairs that are capital in nature, so that's the capital expense. However, for repairs that are capital in nature, you can claim a capital cost allowance. So again, all of this stuff is on the CRA website, so you may want to write that down. So the maintenance and repairs related to business use of workspace in your home have to be claimed as business use of home expenses. Now, you can also deduct property taxes you incurred for property used in your business. For example, you can deduct property taxes for the land and building where your business is situated. Now, the property tax related to business use of workspace in your home has to be claimed as business use of home expenses. So again, a lot of these forms are on the CRA website, and I'm really hoping that all of you have a good accountant because they are definitely worth their weight in gold when it comes to tax season. Next, vehicle expenses. Obviously, a lot of you are driving around, you're going to see clients, doing different things like that. So independent contractors can deduct the expenses related to their car, including gas, oil changes, repairs to the car, toll charges, like you're going on the 407 or other over the border and things like that, parking, insurance, tax depreciation if you own your car, or lease payments if you lease the car. Now, the car expenses listed above can only be deducted to the extent that they were incurred for business purposes. So again, the example, if you drove 50% of the time for business purposes, then 50% of your car expenses are deductible. So you need to obviously keep that in mind because, again, you have a car for personal reasons as well. Now, the CRA allows you to deduct 54 cents a kilometer for the first 5,000 kilometers related to business travel and 48 cents after that. So again, for more information, check out automobile allowance on the CRA website. And just to remind you, this is being recorded, so it will be posted on the website, so all the slides and everything will be there, so don't worry about missing something. Okay, so we've got all that. So next part for vehicle expenses is, the best evidence to support the use of a vehicle is an accurate logbook of business travel maintained for the entire year, showing for each business trip, the destination, why you're traveling, and the distance covered. So that's really important. Again, you can probably, I've seen them at the dollar store, you can get them, or just keep a journal, but you need to keep a logbook. You can't just be, trying to remember this and when it comes tax season. You need to do this every time you travel. Whether you keep it in your car, it might be a good idea because obviously that's where you are when you are traveling, but definitely keep a logbook. You can deduct motor vehicle expenses only when they are reasonable and you have receipts to support them. Now, to get the full benefit of your claim for each vehicle, keep a record of the total kilometers you drive and the kilometers you drive to earn business income. Now, for each business trip, keep a log listing the following. Like I said, the date, the destination, the purpose, and the number of kilometers you drive, so there and back to your home or office. Then record the odometer reading of each vehicle at the start and end of the fiscal period. Now, if you change motor vehicles during the fiscal period, record the dates of the changes and the odometer reading when you buy, sell, or trade the vehicle. Again, as much documentation that you can have to support what you're doing makes it a lot easier when it comes to tax time. So next, we have, we're going to talk about supplies and tools. So what can an independent contractor deduct in Canada? Supplies and tools purchased are also tax deductible for independent contractors. So an example could be your Zyto scanner, your Nature Sunshine product, or Inform Coaches kit. Supplies would be catalogs, price lists, business cards, etc. You can deduct the cost of office expenses, but only certain things. So these include small items such as, pens, pencils, paper clips, stationery, stamps, things like that. Now, office expenses do not include items such as calculators, filing cabinets, chairs, desks, maybe it's lamps, things like that. Those are considered capital items. So again, you just need to make sure you're keeping all the receipts and you are itemizing your purchases. So again, when it comes down to tax time, you can present it properly to your accountant. Computer and software, and this is something we all use and definitely we need for our businesses. So computer purchases are 100% tax deductible for independent contractors in Canada. Computers include desktop computers, laptops, notebook computers, tablet PCs, as well as computer peripherals like a scanner, a printer, maybe it's a webcam for doing webinars, things like that. Now, software is 100% tax deductible for independent contractors. However, only 50% of the amount can be claimed in the year that the software was purchased, and the remaining 50% can be deducted in the subsequent year. So a little caveat there. The amount claimed must be reduced to reflect personal and business use. Again, documentation to support the claim is the receipt showing the purpose, CCA schedule, and the evidence of business use. So again, keeping documentation is key when you're doing your taxes and obviously getting the best rate of return here. And one thing we love to do in Nature Sunshine is travel. So travel expenses can be deducted by independent contractors as long as those expenses were incurred for business purposes. For example, airfare and hotel accommodations to attend a business meeting can be deducted on an independent contractor's income tax return. However, trips to Disneyland with the family cannot be. So just keep that in mind. We definitely don't want to get into any gray, fuzzy area where it's like, oh yeah, you know, I took the kids to Disney and yeah, I was having a meeting with a client down there for like 10 minutes or something like that. So got to be careful when you're doing things like that. Especially with the next section here too as well, is meals and entertainment. And we definitely like to go out, have some, you know, take our clients out sometimes, maybe not all the time. Maybe they're taking you out, who knows. But as a general rule, independent contractors that spend on meals and entertainment can deduct 50% of those expenses. So if the bill was $100, you can only deduct 50%, so $50. So note that money spent on personal meals and personal entertainment obviously is non-deductible. However, meals and entertainment expenditures incurred for business purposes, such as meeting with clients, suppliers, and prospects, are 50% deductible. So make sure to keep your receipts as proof, very important, because this is one where they always are looking at this area. Staff parties. Many of you have, you know, maybe it's full-time or part-time staff, or maybe it's, you just have people that are kind of satellite. I have some people here or there, whatever it is. But staff parties, you can deduct 100% of meal and entertainment expenses when you host a party or similar event to which you have invited all employees from a particular location. But you're limited to just 6 of these events a year. So, which is really cool. It's every 2 months you could do a staff party. Or you could do a team building event, or it's a meeting, you know, with a meal or something like that. So that's really cool to keep in mind. And again, we want to keep our team growing, and we want to, especially if you have a, you know, an upline and things like that. Downline. So entertainment expenses include tickets to maybe like it's a concert or a musical event or the theater or an art gallery opening or something. And entrance fees to an entertainment or sporting event, gratuities, cover charges, and room rentals, such as for our hospitality suites, are covered. So for more information, again, see Interpretation Bulletin IT 518, food, beverages, and entertainment expenses. Again, there can be little, you know, nooks and crannies of different information. So I, again, strongly encourage you to go to the CRA website. Again, for meals and entertainment here, restaurant receipt is imperative. Credit card receipt may not be sufficient. So if you're just printing off your credit card receipt or bank statement, it's sometimes not enough. If you actually need the actual receipt that shows, you know, how many entrees there were, how many drinks, or this or that. And, you know, put a notation, preferably on the receipt, of who's in attendance and what business purpose was. So you could say, you know, it was Joan and Sally and Mary and myself, and we were at Applebee's, I'm just making stuff up now, for a luncheon to do our strategic plan for the next year. So something like that. And then, again, the auditor may cross-reference to your business calendar. So again, you want to keep documentation. It's very, very important when you're running a business because, again, these are all fantastic tools that you can, you know, write off and get some of your money back and not have to pay as many taxes. So the more that we can document and the more that you can support your claims, the better. So again, being organized here is absolutely key to success. All right, next, HST. Now, businesses that collect more than $30,000 in revenue are required to collect HST. Excuse me, as they aren't considered a small supplier anymore. A small supplier is a person whose revenue from worldwide taxable sales was equal to or less than $30,000. So again, 30,000 is the magic number there for HST. Advertising. I know a lot of you do advertising, and that's a good thing. Now, when it comes to advertising expenses, not all media are treated equally. So advertising in Canadian newspapers and on Canadian television and radio stations is simple. Deduct 100% of your advertising expenses, including any finder's fees. But for print periodicals and magazines directed at a Canadian market, you will need to count the content first. If the publication contains at least 80% original editorial content, you can deduct the full cost of your advertisement. If it does not, you can only deduct 50%. So again, there are lots of, if you go on the CRA website. Sorry, I just got a question here. What about a client appreciation event? Do you know what percentage applies? A client appreciation event, I don't have, I'm not 100% sure, but I can definitely email my lawyer friend and find out. So client appreciation events, what percentage to write off? I'm making a note here, and I will follow up with that for you. And that, I just want to make sure who sent that to me. Okay, great, perfect. Okay, so I will find that out for you, and I will get back to you on that. But again, it's not really staff because they're not your staff, they're your clients. So I guess definitely will be a little bit different there. So I will look into that for you. So again, for advertising, we definitely want to do it to keep our businesses growing. And newspapers are, definitely, you can deduct that. Television, if you're going to do, maybe it's a radio advertisement, it's 100%, so you can write that off. So keep that in mind as you're growing your business. All right, next up we have insurance. So exciting, insurance. You can deduct all ordinary commercial insurance premiums you incur on any buildings, machinery, and equipment you use in your business. The insurance costs related to your motor vehicle have to be claimed as motor vehicle expenses, not including CCA. So the insurance costs related to business use of workspace in your home have to be claimed as business use of home expenses. So in most cases, you cannot deduct your life insurance premiums, so make a note of that. However, if you use your life insurance policy as collateral for a loan related to your business, you may be able to deduct a limited part of the premiums you paid. So again, complete documentation is crucial here. Having an accountant that is trustworthy, that doesn't necessarily has to be a direct sales guru, but is versed in is an accountant that has an office, has a firm. We're not going to H&R Block. Wouldn't recommend that. We need someone that is really into small businesses and that can help you with all of these things and obviously save you a lot of money. Okay, next, legal, accounting, and other professional fees. The cool thing is legal and accounting expenses related to the business, so like fees paid to have tax returns prepared, maintain accounting books and records, that's deductible. So it's worth spending the money. Spend the extra bucks and get someone that knows what they're doing. And again, legal fees related to tax appeals are also deductible. We don't want ever that to happen, but it is deductible. So again, keeping that in mind, that those expenses for getting your tax returns prepared and maybe having a bookkeeper, that's all deductible as well. All right, next we have business tax, fees, licenses, dues, memberships, and some subscriptions. So you can deduct any annual license fees and business taxes you incur to run your business. You can also deduct annual dues or fees to keep your membership in a trade or commercial association. You cannot, though, deduct club membership dues, including initiation fees, if the main purpose of the club is like a dining club, or it's a wine club, or recreation like a squash club or sporting activities. So those, unfortunately, cannot be deducted. Management and administration fees. You can deduct management and administration fees, including bank charges incurred to operate your business. You do not include on this line, though, employee salaries, wages, and benefits, including employers' contributions, property taxes, or rents paid. You can claim these amounts at a different place on the Form 2125, which is Statement of Business or Professional Activities. So again, a lot of this, a good chunk of this information is already on the CRA website, Canadian Revenue Agency. So I strongly encourage you to go in there and peruse it. It's actually a really user-friendly website. Convention expenses, conferences. For starters, there's a limit. Each year, you can deduct the cost of only 2 conventions that relate to your business or professional activity. If the organizer includes incidentals like coffee and cookies at meetings and receptions, don't fret. However, for each day the organizer provides food, beverages, or entertainment, you must subtract $50 from the total convention fee for that day. That amount is then used as a meal and entertainment expense at the usual 50% limit applies there. So the Canada-U.S. tax treaty allows business organizations which are national in character to hold conventions in the U.S. So if you were going to a U.S. convention, you definitely can write that off. So just keep that in mind. So training expenses. So training to maintain, update, or upgrade an existing skill or qualification is deductible, provided it's connected to your business activities. So that's very exciting because, again, if you're doing some Stephen Horn, trainings, upgrading, maybe you're doing some classes, maybe for iridology or different things like that. Again, keeping those receipts, those can be deducted. Next up, for more information and further details, please check out, like I said, the www.cra-arc.gce.ca. Anyway, it's all going to be saved here on the website, on the webinar, so you can look at that after. I will leave this up there if you want to write that down, though. The Canada Revenue Agency website is a wealth of information. And I'm going to provide you here, the next page here is a list of some things they review on the website, just so you can see how truly valuable it is. Before you start, it actually helps you figure out, do you meet the definition of a business? You can be considered as self-employed as having a sole proprietorship or a partnership. So it actually helps you define what you are. To start a business, do you need a business number, a BIN, or a CRA program account? Are you an employer? Do you have a clinic? So if you have employees, that's going to be different. It's going to help you register for GST, HST accounts. It's file my GST, HST return. Depending on your business situation, you may have to remit on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. Again, all the information is there. They even have a video series, which is super great, about starting your business. There's videos on GST, HST videos for business. Also on the website is maintaining a business. Report your business income and expenses, list of expenses, capital cost allowance, input tax credits, bring assets into a business, keeping records, hiring employees, know your responsibilities as an employee. This is super important. As a business owner, you may have to remit source deductions on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis for payroll. Due dates, source deductions, pay my GST, source deductions, changing your business status. Again, video series, it's awesome. Reporting business income and expenses, keeping records, payroll information for a new small business. Actual videos, this is really exciting. So that's just the tip of the iceberg on that website. So again, definitely take the time to check it out. And just a few things here for everybody to think about, especially for people that are new to the business. And I know I've had a few people ask me, like, if someone is just started as a business associate and, they've only been in the business for a month or two and, they haven't done too much, what should I be telling them? And the reality is they're still an independent contractor as far as we're concerned, so why not take advantage of it? Why not take advantage of the tax savings? So, just thinking about it, is it a business or is it a hobby for them? The course of action of the taxpayer, do they have a business plan? Do they have a budget? Are books, accounting records maintained? What training, knowledge do they have? Is there a client and prospect list? What sales efforts are being made? Do they have a calendar of like, I'm meeting so-and-so, today, and I'm doing an herbal hour here, and I'm doing this there, and I'm doing a networking event here, and, what is the regularity of activities? Are they having a monthly meeting? Are they doing an open house? What type of things? How much time is spent on these events? Elements indicating personal pleasure or recreation. So again, these are just some things to think about when you are working with your newer people, and just, letting them know that, is this a business or a hobby? Let's create a business. These are some of the cool things that, when you are becoming your own independent business owner here, these are some of the things that, the tax write-offs that they can take advantage of. And I think that's very important that you share that with them, because they will not know. I mean, if they've been an employee all their life, they will not know everything that they can write off. So again, just really talking about them. Are they going to pursue this as a business, or is it just going to be a hobby? And again, business or hobby, the nature of the product and the target market. What type of products? Obviously, Nature Sunshine. How are they advertised or promoted? So what are they doing? Are they, promoting on Facebook? Are they promote? Okay, they said you couldn't hear me there for a minute, but I'm back now. It's forward. So again, the nature of the product, Nature Sunshine. How are they advertised, promoted? So maybe it's Facebook, Twitter. Maybe you have, your website promoting what your business is, and you talk about Nature Sunshine. Narrow versus broad target market. We have a very broad target market because, again, we're in an industry where, we're very unique in the sense that a lot of direct sales companies are, something that someone wants. They want that lipstick, they want that jewelry, they want that purse. But it's not a need. They don't need to have it. They need to have Nature Sunshine products for their health, their wellness, and their livelihood. Like oops, I skipped ahead. Sorry about that. So it's definitely something that they need. So again, broad target market is everybody. How much is resold versus personal consumption? Having them think about that. Profits and losses in past years. The history of consistent losses or varied results. Relative scale of net losses to gross income. This is, again, if they've been in the business a couple of years. Other factors indicating business is, the registration of a business name. Are they registered for GST, HST, or PSD? Payment of provincial municipal taxes. Any other business type of registration. So again, these are more so if you have a clinic and different things like that. So, but again, business or hobby, and just really talking to your people and letting them know that it's amongst all the other great benefits of being part of Nature Sunshine is the tax benefits. So that's something we don't like to talk about because everybody hates the tax man and everybody hates to pay taxes. But it's actually a benefit for people to be an independent contractor because, again, there's no taxes coming off their commission check, which is great. However, they will probably most likely have to pay some tax on that. But with all of these write-offs, then they can obviously offset a lot of that. So that's the exciting part of that, of being an independent contractor here. So the final thought is here, tips is invest maybe in an accounting software. Like Quicken. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Quicken. It's been around for years and years and years, and it's very well respected. There's another one called Ace Money. There's a new one that's really hot in the marketplace right now, and it's totally free. And that's the waveapps.com/accounting. And I checked it out online, and it is really cool. So you may want to write down that website, waveapps.com/accounting, and check it out because it is free. And it does allow you to do a lot of tracking and allow you to really build your business in a great way. And again, it's free, so check it out and let me, I'd love to know if anybody jumps on that, and I'd love to see how well it works. But whatever it is, just have something. That's all I can say, just have something. Maybe it's just an Excel file, spreadsheet that you're keeping track of everything, but you have to have something. Again, having a system for saving actual receipts. I'm not joking when I say shoebox. I've known so many people that are millionaires and running businesses, and they have their receipts in shoeboxes. They have one for January, one for February, one for March, whatever it is. Some do the envelopes for each month, whatever it is, or the recording file folder. Again, whatever it is, just having a system in place is crucial. And again, find a good accountant. They are absolutely 100% worth the money. Yes, you can do your own taxes. Yes, you can. Absolutely. You can get the, the programs online, and, they're cheap, 20 or 30 bucks. You can go to H&R Block, and they do have, obviously that's fine too. I've just recently had the experience where I needed it, I was going to do it myself, and by doing it myself, I would have overpaid close to $3,000, which is crazy. In my head, I was like, what did I do wrong? But I didn't know about certain write-offs. I didn't know about that whole, working from your home and writing off your, percentage of the square footage of your house and different things like that. I didn't know about, if you had some maintenance to your home, you can write that off. So again, so many things that we just may not think about or know about that can save us money in the long run, and that's what it's all about. We want to, keep our profitability high, and we want to keep our taxes low. So hopefully that was helpful to you. Again, this was recorded and it will be up on the website hopefully by the end of this week, so you can check it out. But again, check out the website, the CRA website like I was talking about. Check out some of the software programming. Again, lots of helpful information online that you can check out, and I know it will definitely help you as you are getting ready for tax season, because I know for people it's the end of April here for the tax man, so definitely don't want to be late on that either. So thanks everyone for your time today. I really appreciate it. Hope that you found this valuable and you found some information maybe that you didn't know. And if you did know it, that's awesome. But when I was doing research here, I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So I was pretty excited when I went through it. So again, thank you so much for your time here today. Have a wonderful day. And we will talk to you soon. And hopefully we'll talk to you next month on our next webinar. Thanks, everyone.